Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. And this one we have the first pictures of the Avatar McFarlane Toyline. It is just one picture, but it's a pretty nice picture and we're going to go into quite a bit of detail kind of looking through it. So I think this combined with the listings that we have from before tell us I think a decent amount about what's going on here. So first of all, what is this news? So McFarlane have put up this blog post which is literally just 2 lines of text and an image. It says here's something new and exciting for you folks. We've got Avatar The Last Airbender action figures from McFarlane Toys coming your way very soon. You won't have to wait 100 years before you can pre-order this awesome first wave. More to come. Stay tuned. And then one image, Appa, very interesting, Aang, Katara, Sokka, Zuko, all from wave 1. Now, what are these figures? You know, we have listings from before, so if we look at the listings from before, there's a 12-inch action figure Deluxe Aang. That wasn't pictured there. This is going to be a statue of some sort. I'm pretty confident in it. These don't look like the 7-inch action figures because in these listings there's only 2 7-inch figures listed, Aang and Zuko, and those figures do not look like 7-inch. There is an Avatar Last Airbender 7-inch action figure basic creature Appa. That looks a little bit better, so we'll get to that in a second. There's going to be a 5-inch combo pack Aang with glider, so Aang with big accessory. I don't think we see that here, but you know, you get the sense of what's going on here. There is the 7-inch, you know, the 2 of them together, and then there's this, and then there's other ones of like Avatar Last Airbender Book 1 Water 5-inch action figure Wave 1 Katara, and then if we move on to the next page, there's Sokka, Aang, and Prince Zuko, and it's a set of 4 for Book 1. So that I think is what we're seeing here in this image. You're seeing 5-inch Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Zuko, the smaller scale figures, and then this is the 7-inch Appa. Now, this is very interesting in that if you look at the price points, $13.99 for each of these figures. That seems quite reasonable. 5-inch scale, so smaller than like Diamond Select. We don't know how many accessories we're going to get because really only Zuko's pictured here with accessories, though I suppose Sokka does have I suppose his boomerang holder thing on. Zuko does have the fire daggers here. So this, the Appa, as we look here, is $24.99 for a pretty big figure that looks like, is that fully to scale? Not really. I think that Appa is probably a little bit smaller than he probably should be, but I guess at the price point that they're going for, this is probably as big as they can get without sort of making this awkward to sell or something like that. I'd be very interested to know about how they worked out what size this Appa should be, but it's enough to where I think you could fit at least 2-3 figures on it. It's maybe going to be a tight squeeze in there and not look, super accurate. But just the fact that it's in the ballpark, I do quite like, because like there's basically no chance of a lot of the 6-7-inch figures ever getting an Appa or proper to scale thing. So I do like that they're making the attempt with the 5-inch figures to go into it. So let's take a closer look at this these figures in the kind of bigger image that we have here. So up top here you can see Aang, and I think the head sculpt is decent here. Again, a lot of the action figure makers, they really want to go with the big wide open expression mouth Aang. Not sure how I feel about that necessarily, but what's important to keep in mind is that this is likely the basic wave 5-inch Aang. There is the combo pack Aang with glider, which will likely have a different head sculpt, so there will be an option for you, which I'm guessing will have a different head sculpt, as well as the glider for Aang if you want that. Interestingly, in terms of the sculpt here, they're not making an attempt to sort of make his outfit sort of functional here. They're not trying to make it the full shawl thing that he wears, like functional, and then the articulation work underneath it. I think that actually works out okay. That you just want the action figure to be functional and look nice for what it is. Sure, it gets in the way maybe of his outfit looking super accurate, but you see in some of the other action figures that it's kind of that creates a little bit of a different problem if you go too far down that path. But overall, looks pretty nice. Katara, I think, looks really good. I think the head sculpt that they have here to me feels a little bit more sort of just natural than the Diamond Select ones. The hair loopies looks pretty nice. I'd like to see maybe a better look at the hair from behind, but looks pretty good. What I find very interesting is the sort of texture stuff that they have going on here with the plastic, in that you can see it's here on the shoulder as well. And I was initially, I just looked at this bit here, in that, like, this is rubber on the Diamond Select one, and it doesn't move particularly well. And just based on the pattern that it has, it looks like, is it fabric? Maybe, who knows? But my guess is it might just be just like a rubberized piece that has a texture on it. Because it's also interesting that the other clear plastic parts also have that same sort of fabric-y texture. So they've obviously put the effort in here to make sure that the textures look quite good as well. The Throttle Necklace here, very nice. And just the details seem pretty good. Again, for a smaller scale figure, this looks very nice. In terms of articulation, you can see here, I'm guessing there's some form of head articulation, because Katara is clearly facing not straight out here, and you can see from just across them that there's slight different head tilts on all of them, so there's some form of head articulation. Shoulders obviously are going to go in and out, and I guess you can swivel the overall arm around. It looks like you have a forward, backward sort of 90-degree elbow. Doesn't look like there's any wrist articulation. It looks like there is a cut. I definitely see it. I think there's a cut there, so there probably is a waist swivel. There's probably some form of hip articulation. It might just be forward and backwards, I'm not sure. You definitely have forward and backwards 90-degree knees. No ankles. So this is more of your sort of classic sort of, like, what do they call it, like 5-point of articulation style figure. They're not going for hyper articulated at this scale, so that's kind of interesting. But again, the texture stuff here is probably what kind of interests me the most in terms of, like, seeing more pictures. I really want to see how that works. Sokka, again, the face, I'm not sure how I feel about the face. That definitely to me just stands out as like, they didn't get it right at all with the Diamond Select Sokka, and I don't think they've got it right here again. Diamond Select just made it look like too old. It made Sokka look like Han. Here, I almost feel it makes him look almost too young. That's the impression I get from this. It's not quite right, even though the details and how they do the eyes and stuff like that is actually quite good. His outfit, again, is pretty nice. You sort of see the same articulation. You can see, you can sort of see the shape of the boomerang across his back. So that's cool that that's there. Again, you can see more of the texturing on the boots to get across that, oh yeah, it's leather boots. Of course they're going to have a texture to it. Very nice. The Zuko here, I know my camera is going to cut off a lot of Zuko here. I might cut back to the other picture here just to focus on the Zuko. Head sculpt again seems nice, the way they've done the scar, the hair. Again, the detailing on the armor, you can sort of see it here, has the sort of leather pattern, as well as, again, the fabric-y texture here on the other aspects of them. So they're going for nice sort of sculpted details on these, even though they're like smaller scale figures. So that's kind of interesting. Other than that, details seem nice on the Fire Nation armor. Comes with kind of fire dagger type things. Interesting that it's a very sort of blunt way of just, it's a fire piece with a handhold. I don't mind that. Sometimes some of the like Diamond Select, the way they have you put the accessories in their hands, it can be a little fiddly. So I don't mind too much that this seems very sort of like toy-y, that it's just a fire with a handhold on it. I don't mind that, honestly. But I think this actually is good. Like I get the impression almost that they're focusing more on the 5-inch scale, and this, like, they can put out animal figures that will be roughly in line with what you expect them to be. Whereas like I showed you with the listings, it's only 2 7-inch figures, so it's going to be ages before you get the characters you want out of the 7-inch line. Whereas the 5-inch line is going to be cheaper. You're going to get more characters quicker, and they're roughly to scale with the animals. And yeah, let's finish it up with just a look at the Appa. Again, lots of kind of fur detailing here, which you don't see typically in the animation of the Sky Bison. Again, Avatar, like in terms of the animation style, tends to be rather like it shows like plain colors, but realistically, this is what a Sky Bison is going to actually look like. And I like the detail here. Again, it looks like the mouth is going to move up and down, that it seems like a locked in piece of articulation. It looks like potentially you can move the sort of like ankles, so the kind of toes are pointing in different directions. That's just the impression I get based on looking at it here, in that like this foot is rather flat, this back foot kind of comes down a little bit, so it looks like you'll be able to position him slightly differently. The impression I would get is that he probably doesn't have leg articulation. It probably is way too difficult to try and make that work effectively, and I'm guessing with a figure like this, because it is so large, they've put all the budget into the scale of the figure and taken it away from any sort of like articulation. So my guess is that you probably get this mouth movement, the head might move a little bit, maybe some leg stuff just to make sure it's fully balanced or whatever, and that's probably about it. Does have the saddle, and again, I want to see another shot because it doesn't look like there's a ton of extra space, but again, Appa goes back quite a bit, so there probably is enough space to put at least 2, maybe 3 figures, but like we know Appa can typically hold like at least like 5 or 6 if he needs to, so it feels like it's probably a decent bit off being the right scale, but I like that it's, like I said earlier on, that it's in the general ballpark of where it needs to be. And I think it's just like, it's cool. This is something that none of the other toy lines have, an Appa, and we're finally going to get a good one here with this line. So pretty solid so far. I do want to see what you get with each figure, in that they're going to be $13.99 each. So is it just Zuko and these 2 fire pieces? Is it just Sokka and the boomerang? Is it just like Katara and maybe like a water pouch that they don't have pictured here? Like Aang, does he come with an air effect part, and then the bigger Aang comes with the glider? Where does the staff come in? Or is there other accessories that we don't actually kind of see or know about? That's kind of what I'd be interested in knowing. But I like this. I definitely like what we're getting here in terms of a more mass market toy line, and I'm very interested to see the full reveal of everything here, and especially if they show off maybe more of a plan for what's going on. I'd be very interested to see like a Toph done in this style, book 3 Katara again, like we're waiting for that. But yeah, they're my thoughts on the first look at the McFarlane Avatar Toyline. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts were. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.